They laughed at you, didn't they? They whispered behind your back, pointed fingers, and spread lies with smiling faces. You were mocked for your silence, your purity, your refusal to blend in with the darkness. You were misunderstood, underestimated, and abandoned by the very ones you prayed for. But listen carefully. What they didn't know is that heaven had its eye on you the entire time. You were never forsaken. You were hidden, shielded, preserved. You, dear soul, are the chosen one. And when God chooses someone, no amount of scandal, shame, or sabotage can cancel what's already been anointed. The hand of the Lord has rested upon you through it all, even when you questioned your own worth, even when you begged to be released from the crushing weight of rejection, even when the tears soaked your pillow in silence. But what if I told you that everything you lost, everything they took from you, everything that made you hang your head in shame, God is about to return it double? Yes, double. Not just restoration, but elevation. Not just healing, but honor. The shame you've endured wasn't just suffering, it was a setup, a divine equation only heaven could author. And now the scale is tipping, and when God tips the scale, it overflows. You see, God never wastes pain. He bottles every tear, and the very shame you were forced to carry, shame for your truth, shame for your calling, shame for being different, is about to become the stage for your crowning. There are seasons in a chosen one's life that feel like exile. You walk through fires others couldn't even breathe in. You sit in rooms full of people yet feel completely unseen. You carry spiritual weight others couldn't bear for a moment. But the world sees none of this. They only see your silence, your patience. They assume weakness where there's wisdom. They confuse humility with defeat. But the truth is, you were walking through divine training. Yes, the crushing was real. The betrayal was personal. The humiliation was unbearable. But so was the transformation. You were being forged like gold in fire. Your heart was being purified. Your motives were being tested. Your identity, stripped of pride, was being rooted deeper into the divine. And while they thought they were mocking your fall, heaven was preparing your rise. Because God never anoints without crushing first. He never sends a chosen one into the spotlight without first allowing them to be processed in the dark. You weren't being punished. You were being purified. Your wilderness wasn't a curse. It was a classroom. And now, class is dismissed. The page is turning, and as it does, the very people who shamed you are about to witness your reward. You didn't seek revenge. You didn't retaliate. You didn't try to defend your name when it was being dragged. You stayed still, and the Lord saw it all. The heavens recorded every moment you bit your tongue, every time you forgave when you could have exposed, every silent prayer that groaned from the pit of your belly. Now watch what God does with it. Watch how He lifts you, not just in spirit, but in stature. Watch how He dresses your shame in robes of glory. Watch how He silences your enemies, not with wrath, but with wonder. Because when God honors a chosen one, the honor is public. The table He sets is in the presence of your enemies, not to shame them, but to show them the one who was with you all along. They thought you lost, but it was only the seed falling into the ground. Now comes the fruit. There's a divine law written over your life. Instead of your shame, you will receive a double portion. That's not just poetic, it's prophetic. It's the decree of heaven. And what God decrees, no man can reverse. Shame tried to bury you, but it didn't know you were a seed. Shame tried to humiliate you, but it didn't realize it was unlocking your destiny. Now your season of silence is shifting into a sound of triumph. The same voice that cried in the night will shout with joy in the morning. The same hands that trembled in fear will now rise in victory. And those who once doubted you will be forced to say, "Surely the Lord has done this." You were always different, weren't you? From a young age you felt it. You sensed things others didn't. You carried burdens you couldn't explain. And as you grew, life didn't get easier. It got heavier. And while others seemed to soar, you were always climbing, wrestling, waiting. but it's because your story was never meant to be ordinary. You were marked from the beginning, called out, set apart, and that calling came at a cost. You had to walk alone so you could learn to walk with God. You had to be misunderstood so you could become unshakable. You had to be rejected so you'd never confuse approval with identity. And now heaven is declaring, enough. Enough hiding, enough shrinking, enough carrying the guilt of things you never caused. The shame ends here because God is flipping the script. You're not just coming out, you're coming out radiant. You're not just surviving, you're being restored. And not just to where you were before, but beyond it. Double for your pain, double for your loss, double for every moment you stood silent while your heart broke. Because when the hand of God moves, it doesn't just repay, it multiplies. So lift your head, chosen one, wipe your tears. This isn't a fantasy, this is a divine reality breaking through. Your story isn't over, it's just beginning. The shame that once covered you is being stripped away by the glory now chasing you. The very place they tried to bury you is becoming holy ground. Heaven never forgot you, and now, neither will the earth. They saw your downfall, but they never saw your battle. They assumed your silence meant surrender. They assumed your quietness was weakness. They had no idea the warfare you endured behind closed doors, the tears that watered your pillow, the spiritual battles you fought with no one to encourage you, no hand to hold, no crowd cheering you on. They saw the outcome, but not the opposition. They saw the storm, but not the strength it took just to stand in it. But I need you to hear this clearly. What you went through wasn't in vain, and the battle didn't break you, it revealed you. You weren't losing, you were learning how to war in silence. And that silence, that stillness, that was heaven training you to fight with fire and not fear. Because the truth is, you've walked through hell and didn't lose your worship. You faced betrayals that shattered your heart, but you didn't lose your compassion. You were rejected, mocked, cast out, but you didn't let the bitterness swallow you, and that is proof of who you really are. Not weak, not forgotten, but chosen and anointed. Chosen ones are tested in fire others can't survive. You didn't just face physical battles. You fought invisible forces, emotional battles that had no words, generational chains that tried to claim your mind, soul-deep wounds that were never acknowledged, yet you rose anyway. You walked through abuse and didn't let it define you. You were spiritually targeted because of the weight of your calling. And though it felt unfair, though it seemed unending, you didn't bow. And now, the heavens are speaking. God saw every loss, every false accusation, every knife in your back, every promise broken, every friend that vanished, every time your name was dragged through the mud while you stayed silent. He saw how you held your tongue, how you chose honor when you could have chosen revenge. He saw how you forgave not because they deserved it, but because you refused to let bitterness stain your soul. That's why the reward will be so great, because you passed the test. You passed the fire, you passed the isolation, you passed the spiritual audits, the moments where heaven watched how you would respond while hell tried to provoke you. And you didn't flinch, you didn't fold, you kept going. And now, everything is about to change. You may not see it yet, but in the spirit realm, the tables are turning. There is movement in the heavenlies. There's trembling in the camps of your enemies. The ones who tried to sabotage your name, your path, your peace, they're starting to sense it. They feel the shift. They're watching you walk differently, talk differently, stand taller. Because your spirit is waking up to its authority. You're not who you were last year, not even who you were last month. Something in you has changed. You're starting to realize your power. You're no longer questioning your worth. You're anchoring yourself in it. You've stopped begging to be understood. You've stopped explaining yourself to people who were never assigned to your destiny. You've stopped watering yourself down just to be accepted. That's the mark of the rising. And when a chosen one starts rising, the ones who mocked begin trembling. They don't tremble because you're seeking revenge. They tremble because they know God is about to make an example out of your endurance. The very ones who whispered about your downfall will soon be witnesses to your deliverance, and they won't be able to deny the glory resting on you. They won't be able to explain the blessing breaking out over your life. Because this isn't karma, this is divine justice. God is vindicating you in a way that doesn't just lift you, it exposes everything that was used to try and bury you. He's lifting the veil, revealing the lies, showing the truth. And he's doing it without you lifting a single finger. This battle was never yours. It was always his. Your part was obedience. And you obeyed, even when it hurt. You trusted, even when it didn't make sense. You held on, even when it felt like everyone else let go. That kind of faith moves heaven. That kind of faith shatters chains. That kind of faith marks you for more than just breakthrough. It marks you for generational blessing. Because this isn't just about you. The battles you faced, they were ancient, they were spiritual. You were contending not just for your freedom, but for your bloodline, for your children, for those yet unborn. You were breaking cycles that tried to repeat themselves in your family. You were standing in the gap where others collapsed. And that kind of spiritual strength, that doesn't go unnoticed. Heaven has recorded every moment. And now it's heaven's turn to respond. God is preparing to reward you openly, not to inflate your ego, but to affirm your identity, not to shame your enemies, but to establish your purpose, not to give you a platform, but to display his power. And when he does, it will be undeniable. You will walk in rooms you once prayed to enter. You will sit at tables you were once excluded from. Doors that were locked will swing open, not because you forced them, but because your name has been approved in heaven. Because you're not just a survivor, you're not just a warrior. You are the chosen one. You were handpicked by God to rise out of ashes with a crown forged in fire. You were hand-selected to carry oil others tried to steal. You were hidden, yes, but not forgotten. You were humbled, yes, but not disqualified. You were delayed, but never denied. And now the divine announcement has gone forth. Heaven is declaring, "Touch not my anointed." The season of your shaming is over. The season of your silence is over. The season of your shrinking is over. God is lifting you, and not just in private, publicly, boldly, powerfully. Those who overlooked you will soon have to honor you. Those who misjudged you will have to admit they were wrong. And those who tried to curse you will watch as God blesses you double. Double peace, double influence, double clarity, double joy, double provision, double glory. It's happening, not because you forced it, but because God ordained it. So hold your head high, chosen one. You didn't endure for nothing. You weren't humiliated for nothing. The pain was a prophecy, and now the promise is manifesting. What's about to happen in your life will not make sense to the natural mind, because this is the hour where God shifts from silent observation to public demonstration. The same God who watched you suffer quietly is now preparing to raise you loudly. The season of divine concealment is breaking. What you endured privately will be restored publicly. The shame you carried alone is becoming the banner of your breakthrough. What was once hidden in tears will soon be revealed in triumph. This is not hype. This is holy. This is not luck. This is law. And the law of heaven declares that those who suffer with Christ shall also reign with him. There's a courtroom in heaven where your name has been spoken. The cries of your heart echoed in that court, louder than the lies spoken about you in earthly rooms. You may have thought your cries were ignored, but God heard them all. And in this divine court, the verdict has already been rendered, vindicated, justified, cleared, restored. You are not who they said you were. You never were. And now comes the divine reversal. You see, God has a pattern. He allows the enemy to attack, but only to a limit. He allows the mocking to increase, but only for a season. Because what looks like a delay is often a setup. Heaven has been aligning circumstances, people, and time to fulfill what has been written over your life since before you were born. Now he's about to make it visible. The same people who turned their backs on you will witness your elevation. Not because you need their approval, but because God is going to make sure they see who they mishandled. You won't have to explain your worth. Your fruit will speak. You won't have to clap back. Your glow will say it all. Because when God restores, He restores with weight, with visibility, with undeniable favor. There is a mantle on you, a calling that cannot be canceled, and everything you went through was preparing you to carry it. The crushing, the isolation, the ridicule. It wasn't punishment, it was positioning. You were being stretched to fit the weight of what's about to be placed in your hands. So don't curse the process. It was holy, even when it hurt, even when it confused you, even when you begged God to make it stop. It was sacred, and heaven honored every moment. Your obedience in suffering has attracted attention in the spirit. Your heart posture has activated divine justice, and now God is preparing a table for you. Not just any table, a table in the presence of your enemies, not to embarrass them, but to reveal Himself. Because this is bigger than you. Your story isn't just personal, it's prophetic. Your restoration isn't just about reward, it's about testimony. Others will look at you and remember what's possible when you trust God through the darkness. Others will hear your name and know that God still honors integrity, that He still blesses the ones who remain faithful when it seems like all is lost. You are becoming a sign, a living, breathing, walking testimony that shame doesn't get the final word, that betrayal doesn't cancel destiny, that silence doesn't mean abandonment, that the road of righteousness, though painful, always leads to honor. And the kind of honor that's coming, it's not shallow, it's not flashy, it's divine, it's layered in peace, saturated in purpose, rooted in justice, anchored in heaven. God is about to crown you in the same place where they crucified your character. He's going to cause people to bless the same name they tried to bury, not because you demanded it, but because heaven has spoken. And when heaven speaks, everything on earth must align. The natural bends to the supernatural. The ridicule bends to redemption. This is your season of redemption, not just for what you lost, but for who you are. Because this goes deeper than material things. You're not just about to receive double blessings. You're about to receive deep healing, deep affirmation, deep spiritual clarity. The confusion is lifting. The heaviness is breaking. The lies are unraveling. Your mind is being made whole. Your identity is being restored. Your spirit is catching fire again. Because you're stepping into the truth. You are not cursed. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not a failure. You are not foolish for trusting God. You are not crazy for holding on. You are not weak for walking away. You are not lost. You are exactly where God wanted you. This divine reversal is heaven's way of saying, I saw it all, and I'm here to make it right. The reversal will come in many forms, in opportunities, in reconciliations, in restoration of things you thought you would never get back, but also in peace, in joy, in confidence, in the ability to finally breathe again without the weight of shame pressing on your chest. You'll begin to smile again, but not with forced joy, with real, healed wholeness. You'll begin to walk into rooms and feel worthy of being there, not because man approved you, but because God affirmed you. You'll begin to speak and feel heard, not because they finally listen, but because you now speak from authority, not insecurity. You'll begin to look in the mirror and see the truth, that the pain didn't disfigure you, it refined you. And with every step you take from this point forward, you will walk in the awareness that your life is a divine signpost, that the shame of your past has been traded for the glory of your future, that the ashes have given way to beauty, that the mourning has become dancing. So lift your eyes, open your hands, let your heart soften, because the season of reaping is here. You've sown in tears long enough. Now you'll reap in joy. You've been faithful over little. Now God is about to make you ruler over much. Not for the spotlight, not for the applause, but for the kingdom, because chosen ones don't rise for attention. They rise to bring glory to the one who lifted them. And now it's your time. Have you ever wondered why the attacks against you were so relentless? Why people you never harmed turned against you with such fury? Why some of your deepest wounds came not from strangers, but from those closest to you? Family, friends, even spiritual leaders. It wasn't random. It wasn't coincidence. It was calculated, because the enemy knew something about you before you did. He saw your light. Before you fully understood who you were, the enemy already recognized it. That's why he targeted you in childhood. That's why you experienced rejection early, betrayal deeply, and emotional wounds that lingered longer than they should have. The enemy hoped to distort your identity before it was fully formed, to make you doubt your value, your calling, your voice. But he failed, because what was written in heaven concerning you could not be erased by the warfare you walked through on earth. See, the attacks were never about where you were. They were always about where you were going. Your future provoked the fight. Your destiny disturbed the darkness. You didn't ask for this battle, but your anointing did. Because when you carry oil that breaks yokes, when your very existence threatens generational curses, when your voice is assigned to awaken others, the opposition intensifies. And yet, you survived. That's how you know you're chosen. Not because it's been easy, but because you've made it through what should have taken you out. Not because you always felt strong, but because even in your weakness, grace carried you. There's a paradox about your journey. Your strength came from surrender. Your power was born in brokenness. Your wisdom came through wounds. And now you understand something many don't, that pain is a passport to purpose. The very things the enemy used to try to break you became the tools God used to build you. The betrayal birthed discernment. The rejection taught you self-respect. The silence developed your sensitivity to the Spirit. The abandonment pushed you deeper into God. And now you don't just speak from experience, you speak from evidence. You are living proof that suffering doesn't cancel calling. It refines it. The paradox is this: the more you were wounded, the deeper your compassion grew. The more people lied on you, the more committed you became to truth. The more you were excluded, the more you embraced the presence of God. You were never meant to fit in because you were born to stand out. And for a season, that made you feel like something was wrong with you. But now you see clearly, you were never out of place. You were ahead of your time. And those who couldn't recognize your worth weren't qualified to walk with you. God allowed the distance. He allowed the departure. He allowed the betrayal. Not to hurt you, but to purify your circle. Because you couldn't afford to take contamination into your next chapter. You couldn't drag old mindsets into new territory. You couldn't carry counterfeit connections into your kingdom assignment. And now the veil has been lifted. You see the difference between those who were for you and those who were just familiar. You see the value of your voice, not because someone affirmed it, but because God is awakening your remembrance. You are remembering who you were before the world told you who to be. You are remembering the dreams heaven planted in your soul. You are remembering the fire that religion tried to smother, the gifts that fear tried to hide, the boldness that trauma tried to bury. And this awakening, it's dangerous to the kingdom of darkness, because a chosen one who remembers who they are is unstoppable. No longer begging for validation, no longer needing approval, no longer living from shame or silence, but speaking, moving, commanding, declaring with holy confidence. Not arrogance, authority, not pride, position, because now you know who you are, and even more importantly, now you know whose you are. That's why your rising cannot be reversed. It is rooted in something eternal, not popularity, not visibility, not applause, but purpose. And that purpose is backed by heaven. That's why every force that tried to delay you is now being dismantled, not by your hand, but by divine decree. You're not in competition, you're in covenant. You don't have to strive, you're chosen. You don't have to force it, it's already written. And the reason your enemies are growing restless is because they can sense that everything they tried to stop is now gaining momentum. The same mouth that cursed you will soon be forced to confess, this was God. But listen, chosen one, the real reward is not the platform. It's not the double portion of visibility, wealth, or recognition. Those things will come, but the real reward is peace. It's clarity. It's walking in rooms without shrinking. It's being able to rest, knowing you didn't compromise your soul just to be seen. It's waking up each day and knowing that heaven is smiling over you. That's the double, glory and peace, favor and foundation, elevation and stability, a public blessing built on private integrity. Because you chose the narrow road. You said no when others said yes. You obeyed when it cost you comfort. You sowed when you barely had. You stayed faithful when it felt foolish. And now God is about to make it all worth it. So don't worry about who doesn't believe in you. Don't look back at the people who couldn't walk with you. Keep your eyes forward, because what's ahead is divine. It's unprecedented. It's uncontainable. You were broken in the dark, but you'll be built in the light. You were shamed in silence, but you'll be crowned in sound. You were stripped, but now you'll be strengthened. You were alone, but now you'll be aligned with the right people, the right purpose, and the right timing. And as it unfolds, you'll look back and thank God, not just for the blessing, but for the breaking, because the breaking birthed you. And now you no longer need people to see you. You just need God to lead you. And He is, right now, guiding your every step, preparing every door, shifting every piece into place. And in the days to come, you'll see it, tangibly, clearly, publicly, not because you chased it, but because you were faithful when no one was watching. So trust the reversal, trust the justice, trust the divine hand that never left you, because everything they used to shame you, God is turning into your crown. Take a breath, chosen one. Let it settle in your spirit. Because what you're stepping into now is not just a reward, it's a revelation. The revelation of who you truly are. The unveiling of the divine masterpiece that was always hidden beneath the ashes, the sorrow, the shame. You're no longer the same person who cried herself to sleep, who questioned his own worth, who begged for answers in the midnight hour. That person walked through fire, and what came out was gold. You are gold, refined, unbreakable, chosen. You were never just enduring for yourself. You were paving a way. Your obedience has created a ripple effect in the spirit. You are the turning point in your bloodline, the one who broke through barriers, the one who silenced generational lies, the one who refused to stay buried under labels others placed on you. And now God is lifting you, not just to honor you, but to restore the divine order around you. This elevation, it's holy, and it's here. The silence has ended. The divine verdict has been released. The shame that once defined you is being erased by glory. The people who once dismissed you will no longer be able to deny you. You are not just a survivor, you are a symbol, a sign, a living prophecy fulfilled. You are walking into rooms you once only saw in visions. Doors are opening not because of who you know, but because of who knows you. Your name has been whispered in heavenly places. Angels have been assigned. Alignment has begun. You will no longer apologize for your oil. You will no longer shrink to make others comfortable. You will no longer explain why you carry what you carry. You've paid the price. You've walked the path. You've endured the pain. And now, the promise is here. But with this promise comes a responsibility. Stay humble. Stay hidden in the presence of God, even as He lifts you in the presence of people. Don't let the applause confuse you. It's not for you. It's for the one who brought you through. It's for the story that shines through your scars. It's for the God who turned your shame into double honor. So wear your crown boldly, but carry it with grace. Walk with fire in your bones, but love with gentleness in your heart. Let your confidence come not from what's around you, but from what's within you. because what's within you was placed there by heaven itself. You are not a fluke, you are not a mistake, you are not forgotten. You are the chosen one. And in this hour, God is making it known to your enemies, to your community, to your family, to the very people who once misread you. He is placing you in the light not for vanity, but for vindication. You will be honored in the same places where you were humiliated. You will be embraced where you were once exiled. You will be celebrated in the same spaces where you once stood alone. Because this is the hour of reversal, of recompense, of resurrection. The shame that clung to your name is now powerless. The lies that tried to define you are silenced. The sorrow that weighed you down is being lifted. God is releasing a joy that can't be stolen, a peace that can't be shaken, a clarity that can't be clouded. You're not just rising, you're being rooted, anchored in truth, grounded in grace. So now, beloved chosen one, it's time to move forward, head high, heart open, spirit alert. This is your season to build, to speak, to walk in the fullness of what God promised you. No more delay, no more doubting, no more detours. Your identity is sealed. Your purpose is awakening. Your path is set. Move with the confidence of someone who knows heaven is backing them. Speak like someone who knows their words. Shift atmospheres. Love like someone who has nothing to prove and everything to give. And above all, rest. Rest in the knowing that it's done, that the shame has been traded, that the honor has been released, that the doubling is not coming, it has already begun. Let your soul breathe again. Let your spirit rejoice. Let your heart heal completely. And as you move forward, remember this: you are not alone, you never were, and you never will be. God was with you in the valley, and now He walks with you to the mountaintop. The same God who covered you, storm now covers you in success. The same God who held you in the darkness now reveals you in the light. This is your divine unveiling. Chosen one, your time has come. Walk in it, shine in it, live in it, and let the world witness what God can do with a life fully surrendered, a heart fully broken, and a soul fully healed. This is not the end. This is your beginning. Until next time, stay rooted, stay radiant, stay real. Your crown is here. Wear it well.